today we're going to wrap up 2023 with the Raising Real Estate Standards podcast. And, our wrap-up sessions, we look back, see where we have been, acknowledge the good times, the troubled times, and then we also like to hone in and provide a little bit of outlook of where we see 2024 looking. That's by market. That's just in general what we're seeing things going on. But more importantly, where we see the Raising Real Estate Standards podcast going next year, because the end of this season does not mean the end of the podcast. It is the beginning of next year, and we're excited about continuing this into the future. So, as we look back, Brian, what are some of the things that draw you that were notable items in this year?
I would say, just let's think about what the year brought to us. From the market standpoint, it was a weird year. We said at the beginning of the year it was going to be a weird year, and it definitely was. We lived in this world of rising interest rates. Everybody thought the sky was going to fall. It didn't. And now we're kind of in this spot where we're leveling it off and now starting to come down. So, that's what we've lived through. And throughout the year, we've kind of talked about, how to handle these certain areas.
Absolutely. I would say the biggest thing that I lean into and 2023 reminds me of is change. It seemed like there was change every week in this market, and it was stuff that was outside of our control. It was some natural occurring phenomenons that because our business is cyclical. It was some human, and governmental imposed items that made our world change. But I think the biggest thing that I lean back in is on the change of the market. And, you can slap, whatever change it was, but what that leads me to believe leads me into really looking back and looking into is the professional real estate agent that was able to be resilient, to see the change, understand the change, and put things in place in their business to take advantage or at least endure what could be, could be, harder times. It didn't end up being awful, but just putting things in place to better their business, which in the long run allows them to flourish even in times of markets on an upward trend, which I think we are poised in our area to see.
Yeah, that was kind of our overarching goal this year, was to focus on the professional agent. We had a lot of changes there, and you're going to continue to see changes going forward. But, our goal is to bring up the standards within the industry and to focus on those people, because those are the ones that survived. Those are the ones that survive's not the right word. Those are the ones that thrived in a market that adjusts.
Absolutely. And I think it was very apparent when, an anecdotal look at things is to look at our brokerage world and see and looking at numbers and analyzing numbers within our microcosm. And when I look at it in a subjective view, those that thrived are those that went into this year not scared. They went into this with a plan. They had a plan of action. They executed on their plan, and they stayed true to who they were and how they've developed their business. We've seen the amateur agents go away. Mm-hmm. They're not gone, but they're definitely not as much a part of the business as they once were. They aren't in every single transaction. They are they're here and there. But the amateur agent is the agent that is on life support right now.
Well, I would say this. Who we considered an amateur agent to begin with did one of two things. They either decided this wasn't long-term right for them, or they decided to become a professional.
Absolutely.
So that is where those adjustments happened from that standpoint.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of and how did they do that? They went out and, you know, got skills. They decided to get intentional about their business. Those that decided to not be amateurs, and you know, it was a good year. It was a good cleansing year, and I think that the overarching, there's a lot of other things that happened this year, and we'll touch on them in a minute and not, you know, harp on them, but. There's been some lawsuits that have affected and that will probably affect how we do business into the future that have gone on. But overarching, I think change was the biggest thing that I took away from this year.
Mm-hmm. Let's fast forward to where we are now.
Yep.
You know, we're at the end of the year. One thing that we've heard from a lot of agents is there's still a lot of fear. There's still a lot of fear around business not coming back. I think this whole idea of a recession is still looming out there. Whether it happens or not, there's still a major fear from that standpoint, and specifically around the housing industry. Now, I think you would agree with me that we're not going to see that, but there's still a lot of fear out there. And I think agents fear that because their business, they see that in their business. Their business is slowed down. This is one thing I can take away or that I see. First of all, we've gone through, I don't know, would you say 4, 5, 7 years where this business really hasn't had the seasonality it has historically. So you're seeing a lot of people in the business fear this time of year where typically, historically, it slows down anyway. People are doing different things. People are spending time with their family. You got the holidays, kids are out of school. You know, you got all this stuff wrapped up at the end of the year, which typically, not only that, weather affects things in our business. And that tends to slow things down. Agents are seeing that. They're not expecting the seasonality of the business, and then there comes the fear. And I'm here to say there's nothing but good stuff coming in this business going forward. So take this time. We've talked about this with our agents. Take this time to spend on other things other than your business. If you have some downtime, spend it on. So you can spend it on lead generation, doing things like that. But spending on some things elsewhere as well. We get so tied down to, I'm not busy, something's wrong. We get wound up when we're too busy, and we get wound up when we don't have anything going on right now. And we have to spend that time wisely and not spend it worrying about everything.
I think the biggest thing and this is not for 2023. This is for the past 20 years. Mm-hmm. This is watching our mother grow up in the real estate business. Real estate agents tend to build their personality and their lifestyle and their self-identity around real estate, mm-hmm. where every single solitary thing that is involved in their world is real estate related. And you're exactly right. While our business is great, we love this business. It is a phenomenal business. Guys, it's not the only thing that needs to be part of your personality. You know, you need to add other things to it. And those having a well-rounded lifestyle is something that will allow you to stay in the business for a longer period of time. And I can't urge people enough to find out what some of your other passions are. Find out what is going to drive you, what's going to fill your cup. We've talked about that before, filling your cup and filling your soul. And if everything that fills your soul comes from a real estate transaction, I think we need to look inward and add a little bit to ourselves, because that only goes so deep. As we enter into 2024, and we're ending 2023, if that's you, add something to your world. Figure out what it is. What are you passionate about that it doesn't involve a real estate transaction, and start, devoting a little bit of time to that, because I can tell you what that's going to do is it's going to fill you up. It's going to fill your passion, and it's going to allow you to become more effective and do more things in your real estate business, because if you spend all your time in that world, it is going to drain you. Prime example, I've been drained. I have hit walls that really kind of, bring you way down. And so encourage you to find other ways, other outlets, other things to fill your cup other than a real estate transaction and money.
Yeah. Our professions, our jobs, what we do for a living is a means to an end and not the end itself. And I think sometimes people get caught up in that, just like you were saying, and it engulfs us. And we've talked about this before, and you do that, but you don't realize you're sacrificing in other areas. And yes, right now is probably a good time for people to self-reflect on that.
Absolutely, and I'll be honest with you, in heading down this road, we've been very intentional about that. We've built systems in our brokerage to allow agents the time, and we encourage them to take the time to do other things. Their business, your business, can still run without you having to pull every single string in it. You can put systems, and you can put other people into your business to help you achieve those things. So, I was communicating with one of our agents, and who was having a little bit of a down spell. One of those feared agents that was having a slowdown, and they had a vacation on the books, and headed out for their vacation. And they were confident enough to know that they didn't need to cancel their vacation because they started to get busy. Right before they leave, we as agents get busy. And if you've gone through a slow time and you start to get busy, there's part of your body that says, well, maybe I need to not go to this. Maybe I need to just take care of what I have going on. They didn't. They went on their vacation. The systems and the people that they had in place allowed them to put multiple homes under contract, close a couple of homes while they were gone, and more importantly, they were able to focus on what was the priority at that point in time, which was being in the moment of their vacation. And so it's important to do those things, have those things in your life, because at the end of the day, memories are the things that last a lifetime. That dollar is spent and gone well long after the transaction, and is not something that has a lasting piece. So, as you're reflecting, we talk about rest, relaxation, and reflection. Did I mess up those R's up?
Not really. I mean, I was gonna bring that up while we have some downtime. You haven't heard us really talk about this today that much, but if you go back and hear any of the other, year ends that we've done, we always focus on this. Take the time right now to rest, relax. Reflect on what you've done over the past year and recharge and get ready for the year ahead. This is the time to do that, and you don't get another time to do that other than this. I mean, unless you just really are intentional about it. This time of year is really set up for that.
It is. It's a natural phenomenon. It's that cyclical piece to it that allows that flexibility. Yes, there'll be things that need to be done, but there's also more downtime than not right now. It's not dead time. It's just downtime. And so, yeah, you're exactly right. So let's stop. I want to look forward. What I want to get ready to do is kind of take a forward look of what we anticipate 2024 looking like. And guys, you can go back, a lot of year-end stuff, predictions literally look foolish. They're not accurate. Because we're not 100% exactly what's going to present itself. I remember going through this not too long ago, and we were talking about the interest rate environment, and we said, and I see it come up on my feeds when I'm not trying to watch myself, and it said, or I said that interest rates were going to bounce around. They're going to be between 6 or 5.5 to 7.5 in that range in there. And then when it gets up, it's going to be slow. When it gets down, it's going to be fast. And that was not exactly right. They didn't bounce around a lot. They kind of just kept going up. They kept breaking through these ceilings that we didn't think were going to be able that were not there. So it got up to eight and a quarter, and it stayed up there for an extended period of time, which did not see that coming. However, here we are today. We are going to look forward, and at risk of looking foolish at the end of the day, we're going to provide what our thoughts are as to what we look at 24 looking like.
So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, what you're seeing now is you're starting to see these rates drop. We've pretty much gotten inflation under control to an extent. The Fed has really kind of signaled we're done with interest rate hikes. Bond market was kind of pricing in a recession, which is what was bringing interest rates down quicker. But you've kind of seen that revert. What I'm looking at and what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing is 10-year should settle in around 3.5%. Based on historic difference between the 10-year and the 30-year mortgage rate of about 1.5% to 2%, you should see interest rates settle in around that 5.5%, 5.5% to 6%. I'm saying 6 on the high side because early next, we're not going to get to 6, tomorrow, but early next year we should be bouncing around that point, and then I think we're going to get down and get down into this 5.5 range, which that's good for anybody that's been in this market for as long as we have and some of our predecessors. Those are healthy rates.
Absolutely.
That is a rate that allows a housing market to really thrive. And that's what we're going to have in front of us going forward. Those are good times. We are getting back to good times. We lived through tough times where it was really hard to sell anything. We lived through times when you had 20 showings every 15 minutes on a house and, offers that were unbelievable. Now we're getting back to what the market is supposed to look like. That's what I think you're going to see in the next year.
Yeah, I agree. And I would say this, we have listeners from all over. It's all local too. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest drivers of our market is going to be demand. It's going to be, what is going on and driving that demand piece. I will say a large majority of our listeners are in the eastern part of the United States. North Carolina is where we're located, and looking at our particular market, we're going to be able to leverage those national factors, which goes across everybody, which are the interest rates and things like that. But one of the factors that is built in for a long period of time, and I want to make sure that everybody realizes this in times that they're slow. Guys, if you're in North Carolina, South Carolina, other growing areas, if you have a net importing of people into your community, prices are going to stay on the upward trend for the most part. The business is going to increase. The number of people looking to sell and looking to buy is going to increase, because if we've had this inflated interest rate for a long period of time that we talked about, and as soon as that graduates back, it doesn't have to go back to 2% that it was. It's not going to. I don't think it will, but it doesn't have to. It really just needs to see a slight drop. Going from 8% to 7%, you're going to see a large number of people re-enter the market because they don't want to lose and they don't want to not be able to take advantage of something they did not take advantage of previously. And so the business is going to be there. I will tell you this, the professional agent is going to take advantage of this because they're going to be able to know how to articulate their value, and they're going to know how to navigate a changing market. Again, it's going to flip, and it's important to hone your skills and make sure that you're able to take advantage of it.
It's going to be a good year. It's going to be a real good year in 2024. I'm excited for it. I've got some things, and I know Mark's got some things that we're going to be bringing to you guys, and we're real excited.
Yeah. Guys, hope you have a fantastic 2024. It was a good 2023. I will say it was a good 2023 when we go back and look at it historically. Wish you guys nothing but the best. Have a great holiday season, and we will see you at season 4, 2024.